we haven't heard about before, and a little bit about what they do. And one of the things we've been talking about is your work with the Prison Phoenix Trust. Which supports the rehabilitation of prisoners through meditation and yoga. And Selena Sass is the director of the trust. It's based just around the corner from BBC Radio Oxford, not a group we've ever spoken to before. They work across the UK. And Selena came in with you a little bit earlier on in the week to talk about the trust and its work and how you got involved in all of this, Manawa.
I met Manawa probably about 5 years ago. I've been engaged with the Prison Phoenix Trust since 2013. I became director in 2020. And actually, you were working in the hospital, weren't you?
Yes.
And so we met at a lunchtime, and it was all in the pandemic. But Manawa's been a really important person in my role, as really seeing how we take the charity forward and engage with people in a deeper and richer way across, different faith groups as well.
Absolutely. And I guess that's it. You've got to get to know these people. You can't just necessarily sit down and have a cuppa with them. It's all very strictly controlled in terms of you going in and out of prison. Is there a pressure in that? How much can you prepare before and after in terms of compared to when you're actually in prison?
Yes. So we do go into prison, and I was in Bullingdon prison on Monday, actually having a cuppa with around 35 of the existing people who are living there. And but our work is nationwide, although we're based right here in Oxford, and it's about bringing those practices of yoga and meditation to people in the prison community, be it men, women, and also some children, sadly, throughout the United Kingdom. And we do that in different ways. So it's through facilitating yoga classes, and we train teachers who are existing yoga teachers, but there's very specific skills to teach people in prison, people who have had a lot of experience of trauma and really led very, very difficult and chaotic lives, really from childhood mostly. And people need to be prepared for that. So we've devised a very specialist training, which is about being able to teach in a trauma-sensitive way.
So it's not your average yoga class that you might be thinking about in your head right now?
No, but it does have similarities. And whilst they're taught in a very sensitive way, actually, they're some of the funnest classes, and I'm a prison yoga teacher myself. And actually, there's often some of just the best classes that you teach in the most unlikely place. And but it brings so much stillness, calmness to people, and people who haven't slept for years, maybe most of their lives.
Wow.
May say, actually, afterwards, you might go back for another class. They say, actually, it's the first time I actually slept, or I forgot I was in prison, or I really want to live my life differently now. And actually, what brings them often is their peers who say, look, this really helps. Just give it a try. Or people come to it because they're stuck on their wing, stuck in their cell, and it's just an opportunity to get out. But then they find it so helpful, they go back and they encourage others.
So that's Selena Sass, who's the director of the Prison Phoenix Trust, based right here in Oxford, but works right across the UK. And we're talking about it because of our guest editor today, Imam Manawa Hussain, who's in the studio. And we're going to go through stories that matter to him over the next half an hour on the show. But I wanted to speak to someone who'd actually been in prison and been part of the work that the Prison Phoenix Trust does. Like, how much of a difference can skills like meditation and yoga and breathing make to someone who is, in a bad place behind bars? I've spoken to Paul, who was on remand and facing, a big prison sentence when he first encountered the trust and its work. And, well, it changed his life. Have a listen to this.
I couldn't speak about what was going on inside me with my family, because I didn't want them to know. See what they do, they give you courses to do, yeah?
Okay.
And I think I'd been given this course to do where I'd gone on and I'd met Helen White, who worked for the PPT, doing the yoga. She said, Paul, you can pen your fears out, speak to them, but which is a lifesaver for me.
And I mean, that
Because,
wasn't something
you
you were
know-
doing at the time, right? I mean, you weren't used to sort of writing letters, pouring your
I
feelings
wasn't,
out.
I wasn't. No, looking at a long sentence. I was in a place where I didn't know anybody, and I didn't want to just go speaking to people about my case and stuff, because you're sort of on the defensive when you go away. It wasn't a case of nerves; it was relief. I got diagnosed with arthritis of the spine when I was 48, and I'd always been a fit lad, and they told me I couldn't do all the training that I've been doing, i.e. the boxing and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
So yoga in jail is different to yoga out here.
Hmm.
It's like when people speak to me now, I'm always talking about yoga because it's my passion now, yeah?
I love it.
And when people speak to me about yoga and they go, I can't do it. I go, no, yoga needs to be a personal thing, That's what it taught me. That's what I learned. Because when I started doing it, at first because of the physical side of it, because I like training anyway. It gave me body awareness. So any injuries or pains that I got, I learned to cope with through the yoga, doing certain exercises. And then the flip side, which I still use now, is the coping mechanism. It became a coping mechanism, it became my best friend. It became, and I wrote this in my letters, no matter what happened outside my cell door, they couldn't take that away from me. I opened a studio and I was teaching, but I was teaching like people, small, like one-on-one, 1-on-2, 4 max in a class, because I wanted them to feel that individual feeling that you get from yoga yourself, your personal feeling, not the yoga class.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
That's what it became to me. The best example I can give you, Sophie, I'd been away for about 14, 15 months, on remand. And I was into my breathing then. I was starting to learn that side of it, I used to set myself a clock, like, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then this one particular day, I sat down on my chair, I started doing my breathing. And when I came around, like 3 hours had disappeared. Right? And I couldn't tell you, honest to God, to this day, I can't tell you where I was, where I went. People say sometimes you leave your person, you go wherever you go, and I'm not going to get into that side of it, because I can't say that to you. All I can tell you is that I came round after about 3 hours,
Wow.
And I can honestly put my hand on my heart and tell you this, if you were to give me my yoga mat and set me free on a hill anywhere in the world with nothing else, I was a happy man.
Amazing.
Because I found myself.
And you've gone on to, I mean, you've trained, you've become a teacher, you've even taught prisoners, is that right? You've been teaching classes to other prisoners?
Oh, I did thousands of classes. I taught prisoners on the wing, I taught prisoners in the cells, I taught them on the landings, I taught them down the block, I taught them in the hospital.
Amazing.
And when I say I taught them, I'm not talking about I went in and went, right, okay, let's do all these asanas. What I mean is, I touched them, if you like. I actually touched them themselves, and I made them find something themselves, Jail's very, very hard. And I understand why a lot of prisoners go back to jail, because they don't get anything out of it. If I walk past and I see somebody, and I straight away pick up on them, I recognize they're in pain or something, you know what I mean? And or they'll be doing something, and I'll say, I'll just tweak them. I'll go, listen, do you mind if I just say something to you? Why don't you try do that? Or what is it? You got sciatica, and I'll show them 2 or 3 exercises, and I'll pass it on. Do you know what I mean? And you can't beat that, can you?
Absolutely love that. Paul can't help himself but do yoga now.
I love that. That is so inspiring, so uplifting, and it's so transformative.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the stories that Monowar has brought us this morning, the story of the Prison Phoenix Trust, which is based just around the corner in Oxford, but works across the whole of the UK in prisons. As in his role as guest editor, in the next 15 minutes,